And then
Hey, it's
double checking my dashboard to make sure, hey,
Double
we
trouble,
exist and are
toilsome.
alive. Hooray for us.
Yep.
Hi, everyone in recordings or who will maybe catch us live here in a few minutes.
Hello, students. Study for your exams.
Oh, I should probably post it right here, huh?
Oh, yeah, that's a thing. We'll wait for a couple minutes before people come in, but we'll go ahead and do a quick rundown. How has everyone been since our last session?
Not great. I died. Thanks for asking.
Oh,
Oh, wow. Okay.
unfortunate.
That's it. Unfortunate. Moving on.
Okay.
It's been a busy week.
Yeah.
It's been a killer week, but like we're here. We're moisturized, we're refreshed.
I envy how moist you are because I am dry as a bone right now. It's just
It's like I lost something somewhere.
yeah. Yeah.
Is this like a not being a native Texan thing? I'm missing something.
I have to text about that. It's
No,
all right.
this is just me being weird.
Us Northwesterners.
It's been a thing. It's that time of the year. We're gearing up for summer, and that tends to be that's big doings for the city of Dallas. We've got a bunch of stuff coming up. We've got Smart Summer coming up. We have Summer Saturdays, which that's a whole thing. Which technically this is a part of.
Yeah.
And that since it ends on one of like the bigger Summer Saturdays events with the whole Shakespeare thing happening, which I'm excited for that Renaissance Fair. I'm on the planning team for that.
Yay.
And so we're working on it. What's up?
Doesn't look like it's picking up much of your voice. If when you're talking over there, that's you, it is not picking up much.
Is it picking it up now?
I mean, if that's the right reading, I don't know your guys' equipment.
Oh yeah. Oh, that could be it. One second. Oh, this is for the I think this is for the headphones.
Sounds good on Twitch.
Are we good? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
just-
Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to disrupt everything.
No, you're good.
I just want to make sure you're getting picked up,
We're just
especially.
vibing right now.
Are you guys still doing the Dallas Summer Reading Program? Because
Yes.
no lie, that was my now granted, okay, I was at Lakewood
Yeah.
back in the day.
Uh-huh.
So it's a different vibe, right? But
Yeah.
the Dallas Summer Reading Program, because I did all the children's stuff, and that was the jam. Okay,
Oh,
for me. It
yeah.
was the jam for me because
Yes.
I like being able to give like kitschy prizes out.
Yes.
And like every time some of the littles who used to come to story time are now in college, and that weirds me out. But they would come in, and like every time they would like have a new book that they read, and I'd give them their little toy or whatever. We'd have a little miniature dance party, like, you finished your book, you finished your book. You gotta make it fun, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to Dallas Summer Reading Program.
Yeah, we're still doing that. Oh, we do it every year. Having to use Beanstack, it's a joy and a privilege.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're still doing that. We've got Summer Saturdays. We actually have an event going on right now on this floor, but in a different room. Over in the main concourse area, we have Pause and Tea, where they're bringing in therapy dogs and drinking tea.
nice.
So
That's
that's
What?
the thing, and that's going on until for while we're doing this. So you guys are held captive while there are dogs in the other room. I'm sorry.
I want to pet dogs.
Alas.
This is kind of garbage. I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't warned of this ahead of
Alas,
time.
I don't know. I could text them and be like, "Bring a dog in here at like,
Can you-
like 15 till."
No, you don't ask. You demand.
some
We
tea.
demand dogs in this room.
Roll initiative and pet the dog.
Or pet the dog.
Roll persuasion. Bring the dog.
Animal
D&D,
handling?
Can you pet the dog? Yes, that is to answer that question. You can in fact pet the dog. Sometimes you are the dog and you can pet yourself.
Yeah.
But
Whoa.
that's frowned upon in certain situations.
This is a public library. There's other people here.
Yes. Yeah, let's go ahead and go over what happened last time.
Yeah.
Because there was some stuff. Yeah, anyone want to give me the rundown?
Don't look at me. I talk too much. Somebody else take the wheel on this one because I talk a lot all the time.
Well, we investigated a little bit of the fallen intruders. Found out that they were made from pieces of maybe the folio, but relating to Julius Caesar, plus spoiled ink and some kind of foul magic. We found that out. And we found out some more about what happened to Rosalind's mother. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, okay, I guess from Yorick's point of view, while Rosalind was taking care of that, he did notice that there was a strange duplicate person in the kitchen, followed them out and tracked them down, confronted them, and actually made some way better rolls that session than in my combat session. And got to do the things that a shadow player is supposed to do. And found out that there was another operative from the Fey Court that was kind of on the case. Brought them back to meet with Moth and Rosalind, who were doing their thing. So,
Yeah, Moth saved the day. He made sure that the older Lady Capulet wasn't dead.
not dead.
It's a prank.
It was a prank. It's a prank, bro. It's a prank. Chill. Why we all over here? Found out it was a prank, then found out that mortals, for some reason, don't find it quite as funny as I do. So there was that whole thing. We went and then confronted the poisoner. I tried to be a little bit more tactful, but that did not work.
By the way, I need to apologize because I might have cut you off at the knees last time, and I didn't mean to do that. It just felt like as a character, she would not wait very long outside.
You're good. I know. So that's the problem. Sometimes, anyone that watches the channel, it's what my character would do. It goes totally wrong. But honestly, it's okay. I had this whole tactful thing set up. I was going to pretend to be with him, and I was going to do this whole thing. But it worked out. Now, it worked out because he threw himself at you, so it worked out. But I was thinking, Moth had gone in rather, thinking it was going to be a little more difficult to get this. So he was ready to use that charisma score that he may or may not have as a warlock. So that's what you're the warlock. Why did I think you were a warlock? I'm a dummy.
No. I mean, I just don't walk around with like the ring card. Instead of round 2, I don't walk around saying like wizard.
Yeah.
The
Well,
GM is scratching his head when making any sort of combat encounters for this group because it's all casters.
Yeah.
But that's okay because I cast like I'm a fighter.
It's true.
plus, we have hoppers.
Yeah,
which
there
he's
is
basically
hoppers.
all
Yeah,
the
there is
tank we
hoppers.
need.
Like,
Definitely.
Big
And you're
goodness
kind of
for
set up to be
hoppers.
a bit.
I'm just afraid that
roguey,
I'm gonna
too,
like
with
throw
your-
something at
Yeah,
you guys.
yeah.
It's gonna get past like the 18 fireballs cast at it, and then it's gonna walk over to you, thump you once, and then the whole party goes down.
Thumpers can take it. Although I meant to ask you, are you Eloquence?
I'm sorry?
Are you an Eloquence bard? Eloquence?
No, I am a
Shadows, right?
Shadows.
Okay, yeah, because you had a charisma like modifier. I'm just like that
Yeah.
sounds like an Eloquence bard. Because you can't roll below like a 12 with your
Something
Eloquence,
like
something like
that.
that.
It's
I did it
ridiculous.
once and it was silly, and I felt
Yeah.
like I was cheating.
Yeah.
So I haven't been able to play it since, but I had a lot of fun playing
Yeah.
it.
So I did a good charisma modifier, but I even better deception modifier, like specifically deception.
Okay, I think that's
So,
what I think it was a deception roll,
Yeah.
and it was so.
Yeah.
So I meant to ask you that last time off camera. But,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was from I guess Moth's perspective of Moth obviously being the hero of this story.
Absolutely.
Rosalind is at this point. We've started to band together as a sort of merry party.
We're all going the same direction.
Unit.
Yes, we are a G unit. In fact,
the Goonit.
we're a goonit.
I say hopefully no one's the game in this one.
So she is trying to get her mom back from the brinks of a prank gone wrong. It's not a prank. She's trying to come back and get her mom back to health. In which case, she's banded with Moth, and she's learning more about the shadow players and the realization that one has been in her household the entire time. And off we go.
Yeah. Yes, and shadow players, not dark players, not Dark Brotherhood. Shadow players.
You said it last time, but I was just gonna let it go.
Yeah.
I'm just like we're just gonna
Yeah.
skip
I was like,
over it.
Dark players?
A lot of people like Skyrim.
Well, yeah, because you said the Dark Brotherhood. And I'm just like I wanted to. If I had a piece of paper, I was about to draw up the hand. We know.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Just hold it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, shadow players.
Shadow
Shadow
players
players.
again. No, sorry.
And then we got a name reveal at the end.
Yes.
Yes.
The name reveal. After chasing it down and everything, we realized that the pseudonym used, Ben, was a cover for an individual going by Malvolio, who is in Verona for some clandestine reason. And we now return back to in front of the apothecary, whom is gathering their things in order to go to the Capulet household and inform the lord of the manor what has occurred. And wherein he has sold a near fatal poison that was used to put Lady Capulet in a death-like sleep. And with that, we return to a dawnbreak, sort of overcast situation. About 30 minutes or so ago, we had a blackout, wherein everything went dark. Stepping out from the apothecary, you see several groups of people sort of continuing to work. There's maybe like a street vendor nearby selling some kind of thing on a stick that you can eat. There's probably a couple of storefronts that have stepped outside. Some are very kindly sweeping. Others are maybe sitting on their stoop, taking a smoke break or some other such thing. The door behind you opens and the apothecary steps out, a satchel and his hat in his hands, and sort of nods at Rosalind to lead the way back to the manor, so that way they can talk. Yes.
One cool question, and I'm sure you said it last time, but I just want to get clarification. We did that, and I know I freaked out. My guy had a little bit of a freak out, and you said nobody else did. But did I notice that outside of our party, could I tell if other people had been able to move or were conscious through that, or is that something I just probably wouldn't have been able to tell? Does that make sense?
Yes. Go ahead and roll perception.
Sorry, I've been trying to log into my thing. I think it's a 12. I think I have a +2 on perception.
Okay. Off of a 12, from what you could tell, some people were a little freaked out, others were not, but it's like everyone's always fully cognizant during a blackout, and that's what's scary about it, is that it's these multiple seconds of just complete and utter darkness, and there's this fear that the lights might not come back on. So you all make your way back to Capulet Manor through the town. There's a sort of somber quiet now. What was busy streets and an evening filled with reverie, or a dusk filled with reverie, due to the blackout now, everyone seems far more melancholy. This is typically the case. Everyone sort of recognizes and comes into contact with their own mortality, and it's a bit of a downer on maybe what would have been a more fun sort of situation. And with the Capulet party canceled, the only fun thing going on in town now is there is still technically in the Verona Arena, there still seems to be a concert series that's going on today. And there are some people lining up for that, but instead there was this like loud, boisterous anticipation of everyone sort of getting in line, coming together, getting ready for tickets and everything. You now see the line and everyone's just sort of morose. And it's instead been filled with a sort of like disquiet or dread. Because although these blackouts are a common occurrence, it still doesn't change the fact that this one lasted just a hair longer than maybe the last one, and that just doesn't sit well with people.
Right.
Just not to feel right.
Yeah, just doesn't feel right. So you make your way to the manor, and standing in the foyer is Lord Capulet, husband to Lady Capulet and Rosalind's father. He is a large man that has taken on the family from the original Lord Capulet, his older brother and father to Juliet. now that Juliet's young uncle, Rosalind's father, is head of the family, things have changed to a certain degree. He is the original Lord Capulet was not necessarily all of the lords of Capulet and Montague sort of almost live for their rivalry. However, near the end, before the deaths of Romeo and Juliet, the families were actually considering possibly putting away their differences, much to the chagrin of the current Lord and Lady Capulet. However, with the passing of Juliet, the passing of the original Lord Capulet, and now his younger brother taking over, who is far angrier a person, things have taken a darker turn in Verona. Lord Capulet is a large man, round in the face, filled with bluster. There's sort of this quiet fury that's always underlying everything that he says, but he never yells. At least Rosalind has never seen him yell. Maybe he tries not to yell in front of her. She's not sure. Her mother, however, was loud, always, constantly, lots of yelling, screaming, and he would always be the one to calm her down. Mm-hmm. And he's standing there practically vibrating, and wringing his hands at his side, flexing, looking like he's about to start to get into a boxing ring whenever he sees you come. And he sort of just snaps and gestures for you to come towards him without making eye contact.
Daddy, I can explain. Yes, sir.
I am not upset with you. I was told that you are investigating what occurred. My fury is not directed towards you, dear daughter. Please do not be afraid of me. It worries me when you are.
I'm just generally worried right now. There's just it's been a long night. But
Certainly has.
I have some good news.
Yes.
I think we might be able to wake up Mom.
At that, there's this sort of, the shaking stops, and there's sort of a physical wave of relief and almost a smile, which you very rarely ever see him smile, but there's almost something there before he tightens back up, says, "That is good."
But, Dad, before I tell you how we might be able to do so, I need one thing. And I know it's crazy for me to ask for anything right now, given the circumstances. Before I tell you how we might do it, I just need you to not blow up at the apothecary. I had the same reaction. I was ready to wring his throat too. But I just need your word before we do anything. Please?
Roll persuasion with advantage. He has a soft spot for you.
I just need you not to kill this dude.
I know you want to reach out, but roll,
The whole murking thing,
roll
we're gonna cut that
persuasion with
here.
advantage.
All right. Okay, we're going to take that 23.
Okay, off of a 23, you have my word that this night no harm will come to him.
I'm going to look at the apothecary and say, did you hear that? That is this night. So bets are off for tomorrow.
And at which point he nods his head and says, "I've already told you. I am willing to accept whatever consequences either your or the other family wishes to levy against me."
So I'm going to stand next to him and just kind of scoot him up towards my dad a little bit and be like, I need you to talk. Explain.
So he explains the girl that came in trying to buy the poison, her having to ask this man that she called Ben, but who wrote the receipt down as Malvolio, and handing the poison to her. You explain that she was able to infiltrate the kitchens, poisoned your mother's wine, and that the apothecary needs simply to speak to her and take biometrics and stuff like that in order to safely administer an antidote so that way she can wake up. The apothecary apologizes profusely and makes mention of the fact that he is 100% linked to face the consequences. Your father sees that and sort of game recognizes game in this instance, and your father is not a kind man, but he is a man that cares very much about respect and about honor. He is an individual that has committed probably a good amount of crime, but has probably never lied.
Right.
Like, that's the thing. Like, he's absolutely done things that are untoward and people would consider highly illegal or questionable and immoral, but he has never lied about that. He's always been very honest and upfront with people about who and what he is. It's part of the reason why your mother was attracted to him.
Your dad's Kingpin.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you a joke, but I'm never going to tell you a lie.
Yeah. And so he sort of, for a brief moment, puts his hand on the apothecary, and everyone stops breathing for a split second because they think that an individual is about to die in front of them. And instead, he does that, then lets go, and says, "This will be brought up with the Montague. You have, very possibly, given us the only opportunity I could ever imagine that we would be willing to be in the same room together as them and it not end up in murder, at least for one of us. So, I will have one of the boys take you to her. You will run your ministrations, and you will fix my wife. And I will be speaking to my daughter and her two footmen allies. Who are these?
Associates.
Two? Associates.
Associates right now.
Fine.
Puff up.
Just hooded.
Associates, Daddy.
Understood. At which point they take the apothecary upstairs. Roll. Whoever wants to can roll a perception check on the state of the apothecary and the father and all in this whole situation.
18.
18?
13.
13.
Okay. On an 18, you're pretty sure that he's not been condemned to death, the apothecary. But he might not be leaving this mansion for a long time. So your father takes you by the hand and gestures for Moth and York to follow as he takes you all upstairs to a drawing room. At which point he goes over and pokes at a fire that has been lit, and then walks over to a small little mini bar. And he sort of looks up and would anyone like a drink?
Oh my gosh, yes, please. I mean, no, yes, I would. It's been a long day, Daddy.
Wine, I'm assuming.
Yes, sir.
Same vintage as your mother. And for the two of you, would you care for anything?
I'm assuming I know nothing about mortal drinks.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna say yes. I'm thirsty. Probably thinking it's just water.
Okay.
But he's just going to accept whatever's given to him.
What's your poison? Scotch, whiskey, wine.
The best one.
Okay.
I look over for like some help, like
Moth, what do you drink in the fairy realm?
Oh, that would explain the. Okay, and then he sort of pauses for a second.
was he about to just serve to a child? He just sees this child like.
What part of has done immoral and illegal things do you guys not get?
You know, kid, knock yourself out. That's some.
Listen, this is
40-year-old
how we
Scotch.
This is how we deal with toothaches in his family, okay? Just rub a little bit on the gum.
He goes to like underneath the thing, underneath the cabinet to where, essentially all the chasers and stuff would be, and he pulls out like a short highball glass and just like fills it with like fruit juice, maple syrup, like orange water, just all of this other like nothing alcoholic, but way too much sugar and way too many strong conflicting flavors. And then
Something
he
a
puts it,
kid would make in a heartbeat.
yes, and then puts it in like a shaker with like a little bit of ice, and then just like goes to town on it with like a single egg white so it foams, and then just like puts it in front of you with the wine. And then, did you want anything?
So, Yorick, just before removing his hood, is going to use a spell slot to cast Disguise Self. So he's not just a full bones out. And he kind of pulls his head back, and he's got like a kind of a longer head of gray hair, kind of silver mane, big O Sam Elliott kind of mustache. And he says, I'm a little parched, just some water.
Sure.
It's amazing how you do that.
And then he just puts a glass of water in front of you. No ice, just water.
Yeah.
And he sort of rubs his face and pours himself a large, tall, ice-cold beer. Something from in a long neck bottle. Takes a single sip of it. And then smashes the glass against the wall. Throws the bar up. And then just like with one hand just rips a tapestry off of the wall. Panting and grunting, he comes, pulls his hair back. Dear, we need to talk.
Daddy, do you want me to call somebody to come clean that up?
No, I need it to be like this for a few minutes.
Okay.
He goes over to a large painting of you and your family that he had commissioned whenever he became head of the family. And he very carefully sets it aside. Behind it is a safe. He puts in a combination and opens it. And from it, he pulls out several notebooks, maps, drawings, papers, and all of this other stuff. And he says, I know the name Malvolio.
Okay.
You, I'm assuming, are a shadow player, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
How did everybody know about this, but I didn't?
Because you're not head of the family yet.
Oh, but I like the yet, though.
Working on it. He sort of flips back over the bar and like knocks it off and then sort of lays out these papers in front of you. And he sort of looks at you and says, what do you know of the Directors of Stars?
What do I know of the Directors of Stars?
Go ahead and roll history for me.
History. Yeah, I don't know much. That's a 6.
Okay.
20? Looks like-
You,
looks like 12.
that one, off of that, you are sort of like, he's sort of raised an eyebrow at that, and he's like, feels good to, sometimes you gotta remember you're not the smartest cat in the room.
Yeah, I'm going to lean in and say there's some pretty large gaps in what I know.
And at this point, he sort of explains,
It's an expression, Moth.
the shadow players are individuals that have banded together in order to try to move things in a way that benefits the common folk. Think of it like That's why they take the roles of washerwomen, servants, jesters, that kind of thing. About 15 years ago, that got found out. And the rich and powerful amongst all of the city-states, instead of blabbing, decided to complete the spy game. And so, for the past dozen years or so, we formed our own organization, the Directors of Stars. Individuals who work to band together and make things better for those of us that are in power now. Class warfare, common as all time. When I became head of the family, I was invited to join. Previous Capulet was also a part of it. I said yes, but I was the second son. I don't have a son. I was never supposed to be in charge. Fact of the matter is, I'm a roughneck, a browbeater, a bully. I go out, there's a problem, I fix it. I'm a working man. I never wanted to rule or be in charge of anything. But I have power, so I was courted. So I've been taking notes. The rich and powerful of the Bard lands are all currently in a shadow war with each other, trying to get their hands on folios. Multiple, not just one. From what I've been able to gather, this Malvolio did get his hands on one. He got his hands on the story of his kingdom, the kingdom that he now rules. Not by right, not by birth, not by even that thing that the Romans tried doing. What was it? Thing where all of the peons get together and vote.
Democracy?
Democracy, right. He didn't get it through democracy either. He got it through magic. He got his hands on a folio, wrote his name where he wanted it to be, and now he's in charge of Illyria. And for some reason, he's decided that he wants to try and start some trouble here in Verona. Now, normally I'm a sort of live and let live type. As long as you don't mess with me, I don't mess with you. But the second this man came from my wife, I'm going for his head now.
Damn straight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, dearest daughter, how would you like to make a lot of money? Like a lot of money. So much money that you could do whatever you want with the rest of your life, and your mom and dad are never going to bug you about appearances or what you want to do. You will be a self-made woman.
Yes.
Okay.
You don't have to ask me twice.
Okay. Find him, kill him. Do that, and it's yours. All of the money you need to run whatever thing you want to do, I won't care anymore. If your mother gives you any lip about it, you tell her to come to me. I'll set her straight, because I am not allowing this kind of thing to go on anymore. We are putting a stop to this now.
I kind of walk up to my dad and, Daddy, I have never killed anybody before. I mean, I know I was kind of trained to learn how to do that. This could go really bad. I don't know if I could do that.
You are my daughter. You are a Capulet.
But I'm not like Tybalt.
I'm not going to ask you for much in this world. You did not ask to be born in this family. I give you your freedom. I let you pursue your passions. However, if you remember, I gave you one rule. Everything you do, no matter how outlandish, how out there, how weird, how over the top artistic it is that I don't understand, as long as it's done for the family.
Yes,
I am
sir.
asking you to kill for the family. Now, are you going to make me order you to do this? Or are you going to do it of your own free will?
No, sir, I'll do it.
He kisses you on the forehead, which you can count on the number of times on your hand whenever he's been this kind to you about anything, and you can tell that he is being deadly serious. And he says, "Thank you. This is the only time I will ever ask for something like this."
Yes, sir.
You two, I'm assuming you are invested in all of this as well for a certain degree. I'm going to presume when I said the word folio, your ears perked up.
For the time being, it seems that our purposes align.
Okay.
Yes.
I am also looking for the folio.
Okay. So I don't know if he still has one, or if he used it and then it ran away from him. But if he got one, he might be able to get others, and I might be able to help you with whatever things you're doing. Frankly, I don't care. The point being, I want this man gone. I want the honor of my family restored, and I'm willing to do anything to let that happen. So, sleep, rest. You're going to Illyria in the morning. If he wants war, he's getting war. I'll have to go through some clandestine means to sneak you into a country without you going noticed. But I've got some thoughts on that matter. But for now, yeah.
Shouldn't I be able to get through?
You can get through relatively easily.
But I can't get them through.
You could potentially get them through, but you would have basically no resources
Okay.
afterwards, because you would basically grab their hands and then just sort of walk, and that would mean that you wouldn't have things like horses. You wouldn't have things
So
like...
he's talking research. I was thinking just like the ability to get through. 'cause
No.
I know you have
He's,
to be
he's
favorable.
talking like you guys will have means of like transport, a reason to be there, cover identities, all that stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's talking full spy games here.
Moth could do it.
Subtlety is not my strongest suit.
And with that, your father leaves the drawing room and leaves the three of you alone. And then he pops his head back in. Don't worry about the mess. I'll send a boy. Yeah. And then he closes it.
Oh my god, I have to kill somebody.
You could give them the poison. Play a joke on them.
That's not... That's very Montague. We don't poison here. We don't do passive aggression. We just do aggressive aggression. Okay. I don't know the first thing about killing somebody. I don't even have a killing spell.
You make fire from your hands. I
You,
feel like
you've
that
got
could kill you.
Yeah, you got killing spells. Yeah, but
I'll put it this way. If somebody has died by my hand, it hasn't been purposeful. I mean, maybe it might have had it coming, but...
I like the implication that you don't know. You're like, I may have accidentally killed somebody, possibly. I'm not 100% sure.
I was upset. I was hangry. I hadn't eaten lunch. It was a long day. Again, love and spite are my two factors, and I'm going to do this out of love for my family. Oh, this is going to be hard. Okay. I need to rest. What are we doing? Oh, how do we do this?
Moth will help you.
Will you?
Moth will help you.
Thank you, Moth.
I may have accidentally killed people before. I don't know. Immortals do very, very weird things, so I don't know. Takes a slug of his hard cocktail.
Oh my God, I'm amazed you haven't lost a foot already from that.
Taking a sip of that.
I assume I'm wasted.
This is good. Like,
Yeah,
this
I'm
is-
wasted. I'm sure this is
Yeah,
like he's
no.
just starting. He's like, "Ooh, this is strong. This is the good stuff."
Yeah.
Your poor pancreas.
Yeah.
Yorick,
yeah, for whatever reason, I've been tasked at aiding Moth, and if Moth is choosing to aid you, and Moth, I think this will take us to find more information about your task as well.
Well, he said we were chasing Folio, so I believe it is a good path. See,
I
Moth,
agree.
Moth has sway. Moth has friends. He brings friends.
so we're gonna band together and I'm gonna kill Malvolio.
Sometimes the situation presents itself. Let's go find Malvolio.
Well, okay, you're going with one motivation, and I'm going with this is what my dad said I gotta do. So
No, that may just happen regardless. Sometimes there's no other option.
Or we prank him. We'll see what happens when we get there.
I just start slugging down this wine, just slugging it down.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to Moth a little bit. We haven't had a chance to really just kind of,
Chit chat.
Yeah, okay, it's starting to come clear. We know who each other are. We're in that, and I'm just gonna say, after our kind of air's clear, I'm gonna shake off and just kind of be my old, boneheaded self, and just kind of,
Literally.
yeah, literally. I'm gonna say, Moth, do you think that your missing folio could somehow have been taken? Could someone other than someone from the backstage have gotten to your king, to your queen, to their belongings? Is that even possible?
I do not believe a mortal can do it on his own. To get through, as you know, you need assistance. I do know this. I don't know a lot, but I do know this. Now, your scary father said one thing, that he was stealing folios and rewriting them. And that is scary to me, because mortals are not supposed to have the multiple folios that I knew there was more than before. But because if one can affect my king, the power to affect the king fairy is a lot. And he's trying to like work it through, because he doesn't want to sound like he doesn't know things. But so I would say there's a chance that even if he does not know, if he did not do it, who he worked with to get his hands on that, because I do not believe he did it himself, that they know somebody. If he is gathering them, then people are already reaching outside of their stations. You mortals are supposed to stay in place. You don't. You keep making things very messy. The Illyria, isn't that supposed to belong to that Henry guy? Henry, the number, the fifth, something. He's not supposed to be there, and they're muttering the water. So he had to have help that is not, it is beyond mortals. No offense. You two are very
The
nice.
two of you
None
roll
taken.
history at him saying that Henry the whatever is supposed to be in charge of Illyria.
I have a 13.
A 13.
I have a 16.
I honestly couldn't remember. I was like, is it Henry 4?
15.
Henry
It is
like,
fifth, but I was pretty sure it's the Henry play that was in. So forgive me. If it wasn't.
I was like, I'm listening to it, and I'm like,
no.
I don't remember that, but is it Henry 4?
Illyria's
Because
not
I'm
a
only
real
weak on that
place.
one.
In our like it's
Yeah.
not, it's a made up kingdom for one of his
Yeah.
plays.
Well, I thought it was for the play Henry V.
Nah, it's for 12th Night.
Okay.
There it is.
Yeah.
I was like,
for
wait,
both of
Henry, that's not.
Remember,
is it the Tempest?
It's
is it?
tomorrow will be the second day of Christmas.
So I was like literally trying to like fast pace through
Yeah.
Shakespearean knowledge. I'm like, what is it?
Okay, that's totally my bad.
No,
Like,
it's good. It's funnier.
He
I was
speaks
saying-
with such confidence.
Well, yeah, because I knew I was thinking Henry V in my head. I was like, I'm at least gonna screw that one up. So
Yeah.
I totally did the whole thing on purpose. Actually.
Yes.
That was it. That was what it is. The-
Your history checks go. Henry's a Tudor. That's England.
Us.
It is all the same. It's all the immortal places. I don't know.
We, Moth, there are a good long many miles between us, and
And you still keep mixing them. That's what I'm saying. You keep going everywhere. You stay in place and you be happy, and then you don't. And so, the point being, yes, I believe that somewhere that he knows a guy who knows a guy potentially that that could have affected my king. And even something is wrong, something is not there. And I believe that I was thrown in this direction for a reason.
With these stories and with the information from your father, if someone has your folio, the folio of the backstage, and could make changes to that, what type of repercussions would happen? I noticed that you were affected by the shifting, where you're like used to it, the dawn to the dusk and the blackout.
It's terrifying. I don't know how you are not terrified.
Is
It
anything like that happening backstage?
No, it's not, right? Yeah. No, nothing has changed. The only thing that has changed is my king is in a slumber, and so people are very sad. There's less revelry, less amazing drinks like this one.
Have you had those two creepy drippy things.
No, but that's what that was about to say. Is the repercussions. I mean, I don't know if Brutus is working extra overtime over there or something, but having things mix and cross, you don't cross the beams.
It just crossed my mind, if you could change your role by rewriting the folio, you could also delete someone from a folio.
Oh, absolutely. It works both ways, both creation and destruction. You should not have even us. We do not hold our own folios. It is put away. Again, I'm assuming it was way the queen did not have it, because if the queen had the folio, I promise you things would be very different in the next stage.
What if somebody were to get a hold of this folio and start deleting people? Like, it's all hitting Rosalind at the same time. Like, she's finally there with everyone else, where she's like, oh my God, this is a lot deeper than the party I just threw.
Moth, not to cause any undue fear, but what repercussions would happen if, per se, the backstage folio fell into the wrong hands and your king was deleted?
He thinks for a second.
Roll nature.
This is even better because he's a fae. Oh. 10 actually. I didn't realize I had that good of.
Yeah. Off of a 10. And honestly, I think that sort of narratively makes sense. We're talking about like removing a cosmological constant from the universe.
Yeah.
The king of the fairies has always been king of the fairies. That's just how it is. He has dominion over its. It works off of like duality, right? So if Titania is the feminine energy, Oberon is the masculine. Yin, yang, good, evil, black, white, red, blue. Take your pick. But removing one of them means that you're removing a foundational aspect. Like, just deleting it, you're removing a foundational aspect of existence. And that could lead to, from what you could possibly gather from what limited knowledge you have of essentially theoretical fairy physics, it's one of two things would occur. One, the Oberon being removed means that it would basically just like permanently removed, not asleep, but just straight up dead. Would mean that the universe itself would basically unspool. Half of the thread that was twisted together to create the yarn is gone. Suddenly the whole thing starts to fray apart and sort of just dissipate. Or if Oberon was to be removed, that would leave a vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum, meaning that something would have to take Oberon's place in order to fill the void. So it's be one of those two things. Either existence just blips out, or we have the potential of a new king taking Oberon's place through essentially apotheosis of some kind.
Yeah, and one that we wouldn't understand because he's been so constant.
Yeah.
We would have no idea how that would affect.
You have no idea
that
what
side
would
of
do.
balance.
Yeah,
Would it keep that
it's-
balance, or would it put the balance still out?
Yeah, you go from 1 + 1 = 2 to 1 + 1 = fish.
Yeah.
Like there's no telling what those kinds of repercussions would have.
Yeah.
Okay. Should I take the time to explain that, like Moth would explain it?
If you want
Or
to,
I-
that'll be fine. How would Moth sum it up?
Okay, imagine there are two possibilities. One, nature is balance, correct? Balance. You have a fire you have a fire in a pit. You have rock around it, and it keeps balance. The rock keeps the fire alight. It keeps it in place, so it's still useful. Imagine barrier is gone. Fire then consumes all because there's nothing to balance it out.
Yes.
Or big bad guy come take the place of fire. One of those two.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yes.
So it is a very bad thing. Something that I would suggest. I know you people like your science, but it is one experiment. Let us skip.
Yes. I think fair enough to say it would be bad enough to prove that it hasn't happened.
Yes. Now, I would say if the King's Folio Stone, that is much as obvious with his lethargism going, yes. But I do not believe whoever has it has a full grasp of what is happening yet. If they did, the king would probably be gone already. So my guess is that it is similar to a child with new stick. He does not understand what to do with stick yet, but once he figures it out, someone loses eye.
I just wonder if the cosmic duality of your king and queen are related to the issues of our sun and our moon, our day and our night, which we have not seen. Perpetual menial state for so long.
I can't even remember the last time it wasn't dusk. I guess it just happened and I never thought about it, but I don't remember the last time I saw the sunrise or completely set.
Or the moon.
I actually like that
Yes.
idea that like they just all accepted it, that nobody really noticed
really
it
like that
happened. That they just kind
Yeah.
of like kept living
just
and they
was.
realized
It's-
like it
you-
is.
There's an underlying feeling that it's not right, but you don't know what's not right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember when that happened.
It is like scale. You know, you have spinning. You have weight on one side, weight on another. Everything keeps spinning and keeps moving. You remove one weight, it drops and stays in place. So there is no balance to keep things moving around. And so with no yin, there is no yang. I'm assuming that all these people from, old English plays understand yin and yang. There is no balance to be had because then it does not keep moving. You cut in wheel of cart, you cut half of cart wheel off.
So, in addition to the folio, finding where your king is important as well. Again, last question, and no disrespect, but what are the odds that he just left on his own?
In first week or two, I think you guys call weeks years. I don't know what you guys do. It was good, and I believe in the initials he did leave on his own. The problem is he always came back because he was always drawn back. Again, it is that balance of nature. He needs to come back. It is that completeness. If he just left, then he would not do that because he is. It is hard to explain to mortals. He has to be there. There is no other option. Like he leaves, but he comes back because he has to.
Even if he wanted to leave, he couldn't because he'd always be drawn back unless he's replaced.
Correct. But there's been no replacement, and so he would be back if it was right.
So then we need to either fill the void by getting him back or hope to God that somebody worse than him doesn't take his place.
Exactly.
Oh, that's very bad. Okay. So what do we do next?
Well,
I know I have to kill Malvolio. I don't know how. Fireball.
Fireball usually is a good option.
it's worth a shot.
Or hoppers. Hoppers will get him.
Oh, he is such an adorable little frog.
He is magnificent frog. I like he's been there this whole time. It's only like an hour spell, but just for some reason.
Camera pans to when they talk about him, and then you just see Hoppers just like on the ground, just like lapping at something, and he's just wait, and then just smash cuts back to you guys staring at him.
He's just sitting there lapping up the spilled booze.
I just give him that proud look, just like
Hoppers.
that is hoppers.
So, with that, I'm assuming everyone is welcoming room and board at the
Yes,
Capulet
yeah.
Estate.
Yes.
I think York just goes, that gives him things to think about. And he sits down like this and just goes, like he's dead. Like a dead skeleton. Just all life leaves him.
Just sleeps in the drawing
Yeah,
room.
just instantly. I'm ready to sleep now. Just-
Everything just falls apart. The head just goes rolling to this side till you wake back up. It all just.
That is so disconcerting.
If y'all are kind of looking at him sleeping, you see there's a skull. Like there's no like tongue, there's no teeth, but like from the neck down, it begins to be flesh again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that is terrifying.
Yeah, but it's like if you're peeking, like he's pale, like beyond pale. Yeah.
Like he used to be Ghost Rider, but then the fire
Yeah.
just burnt through.
Yeah, like Ghost Rider, no flames, but like neck down. Oh. It's more like what did I say? It's more like Iggy Pop with agoraphobia.
Oh no, no.
Can we say that on a library?
Iggy Pop with agoraphobia?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
None of those are swears.
Extreme vitamin D deficiency, never seen the light of day.
That image is gonna stay with me.
Yeah, like if your foot has been in a wet sock all day.
Oh,
but his
no.
whole body.
Somehow worse.
David.
Somehow worse.
Flashback to Scout Camp.
Yeah,
God.
exactly. Yeah.
2006.
I grew up in the Northwest. That's just like every other day for 9 months out of the year.
That's terrible.
Anyway,
But he's just out.
you all wake up the next morning. You are maybe handed some sort of breakfast or something very quick, while an attendant tells you that Lord Capulet wishes to speak with you as soon as possible. After they've essentially woken you up. Maybe for York, they just like sort of tap you on the head. For Moth, he's like passed out in a room that's now been like essentially painted over with just like just sugary nonsense just all over the place.
Oh
because
yeah,
they-
he's got the drink in his hand.
yeah,
just-
because he was said, "Make yourself at home," and he took that literally. And then Rosalind just like wakes up in a bed that's 18 sizes way too big for her. She's wearing like one of those ridiculous like nightgowns that the women in like those 1950s romance
With
plays.
the marabou
with
and
the
the
marabou
feathers.
and like the feather boa and the massive sleeves covered with ruffled pinks.
Yes.
And then like at one point in time she like put the pink one on and then went, oh wait, my mother's on her deathbed, then went over and changed into a black one.
I was just as you're talking, like, I bet she has like 4 different colors.
Oh,
depending
yeah,
on
yeah,
her
yeah.
mood.
One in every shade.
Yes.
You never know.
And so that so she's switched out of that and is now in like essentially her road travel gear.
Under eye patch is still on.
Yes. And Lord Capulet sort of speaks to you all and says, I have found a means of getting you to Illyria. Daughter, do you remember when you were about 5 or 6 years old and you told me you wanted to join the circus?
More or less.
And then he puts a piece of paper in front of all 3 of you and says, congratulations, you've joined the circus.
No! Oh, Daddy!
I'm so excited.
He points to essentially a flyer for a traveling theater troupe that engages in monologues, soliloquies, historical plays, comedies, tragedies, tumbling acts, all that kind of stuff. And they are looking for. He explains that they are looking for individuals they're always hiring and stuff. He put in a good word and got you involved in the costuming department.
Okay.
And then told them that they had, that he could provide them a fae, which means that Moth was a shoo-in because they could always use more guides for the backstage in order to get from city-state to city-state. And then he just said, he basically used some shadow player connectors and dude, take your pick of whatever job you want. They'll just give it to you.
My people.
Yes, they are your people, and they're like, yeah, no, he's in. Like, Digger is just like, you all sort of like pack up your stuff and you start walking over towards there, and then you just like see Digger just like shoveling elephant dung. And you just see him, and you two make eye contact, and he sort of winks at you, just being like, "Yep, I'm here too. Don't worry."
Is that your friend? Is that?
You always be nice to the help, don't you?
I mean, usually for the most part, I guess. I don't know. Don't
like
ask
that's
me
a
things
lie.
like that.
Roll.
Roll deception.
Roll deception. That's not true.
23.
A 22.
Yeah, no, you got close, and for a second he's like, "Oh, maybe I misjudged her," and then he sees you like accidentally bump into someone, and then you go, "Watch where you're going," and then he's like, "Right, never mind."
Ew, don't touch me.
He's like, "Never mind."
You guys we all went to a restaurant. She put $5 on the table. Every time I have to call for you, I
I'm
take
taking
one
$1 away.
God,
God, Rosalind, you're awful.
So yeah, you're in this like circus thing now? Do you want to look around or anything? Are you just ready to like get on the road?
Well, I go straight to the animals.
I
go straight to the animals.
Okay, yeah. So you see, they have an elephant, which is nuts. They also have several horses, all in sort of like a dressage sort of thing. They're going through a routine. There is in the animal section, there is also a large cage in the back that you can't quite see what's in there. And then in addition to that, there's also like sort of this petting zoo sort of thing. And there's like some chickens, some like a fat pig with some little piglets and like a llama sort of, not a llama, that's New World. But
alpaca.
Sheep's, also New World. Those are all from South America for some reason.
That's fair.
I know, right? A camel. We can do camels.
Yes, there we go. Yeah, there we go.
Ooh, he does not like the camel.
No, the camel doesn't like you either.
I say I go and I immediately try to jump on the back of the pig.
Yeah. The pig is lying down and suckling. The pig does not give a shit.
Good pig.
Yes. The pig you step and there's a wee, and then it just sort of like wee, and then just sort of lays down and continues to let the piglet suckle. And then you're just like, good pig.
I have found my new mount. We shall ride to war together.
Oh, Marv.
At which point one of the workers is like, okay, Fairy has found a job. Good. The only way to keep them on track is they're big self-motivators. If you can lead a horse to water and all that.
You have horses here too?
You say as a horse is currently chewing on your hair.
I'm looking around at like what they have in their costume stock.
So when you go through and you sort of see what they have in like that costume area, you're actually like pretty dang impressed. They have a lot of interesting fabrics, some of which you haven't gotten to work with because they've picked them up from all of the different city states and stuff. And most everything that you've gotten to work with has been directly like from Verona or maybe like one or two cities over. Mm-hmm. Like, so maybe some stuff from Rome, but they've got some things that are like, they've got some
Cashmere.
They've got bonnets from like England. They've got like stuff from and all sorts of like fanciful stuff too. They actually have a couple of like Illyrian dresses that are in this very like fancy fabric that when the light hits it, it actually like color shifts just a little bit as that place has properties that are just different from how other things work whenever it comes to their stuff. It's all very, very cool, very funkadelic. And then in addition to like those fabrics and everything, there's like the standard costumes from all of like the plays that they've done. And you see some of the ones from histories and stuff like that. Some togas, more like even like stuff like the essentially potato sacks that they give to the serfs are still like interesting. Like they're still like done in such a way that there's like stitching that you're like, oh, I hadn't done this before. I hadn't thought of that. And then they also, and the makeup, they have so much makeup. In order to
do the circus more often. I
Unless
love
he's just not
this.
leaving.
all sorts of different things for different effects that you've never done before, because everything you've done has been for beauty. But there's like things that they have that whenever you put it on your skin, you're like, oh, this makes me look diseased.
This is wonderful.
Yes. In addition to that, like their actual like sewing room and section it's a bit run down, honestly. You have much nicer equipment than all of this, but there's just so much of it. You can tell that this is like collected from all the different costumers who have basically, they took the good stuff with them when they left, but they all left probably one or two things behind that wasn't already there before. So even though the stuff you do have is nicer, they have just more of it and things that you hadn't bought before. And it's all honestly a bit overwhelming. And then there's just, you go over and you just see this old cronish woman just sitting at a loom, just working on a fabric, and it's just,
Oh, good man. What are you working on?
this is going to eventually be a tapestry for a new show we are doing for the background. They told me I did not need to go this hard and that they would just paint a potato sack, and I spit in the director's eye,
As you should.
as I should. And she starts explaining like what she's going through. This is a, you recognize the picture, and you're at first super into it, and then a little taken aback as you realize what this is, and it is a relief of your cousin and the boy dead. And you realize that you look at the season ticket, and the tragedy of Romeo and Juliet is coming to the next town.
Awkward.
It seems that they picked something up while they were in Verona.
Great. Great.
It's going to be a great show. Very, what's the old folkloric one? With the two that get eaten by the bear. I can never remember the name of it.
Pyramus and Thisbe.
Ah, yes, very Pyramus and Thisbe, but a new version of it. So
Yeah.
It's gonna be quite fun.
Except this.
Although I have to
version was
admit, if
real.
they just keep reshuffling the old myths over and over again, I swear creativity is dying.
Yeah, there really is nothing new under the sun, especially when it's real life.
Yeah. Did you know we're on a Henry VI Part 3? I swear to goodness. All these
There's
sequels that they
more?
keep making.
How many Henrys? I was still on 4.
I know, right?
2 Henry, 2 6.
Wow. I'm trying very hard to keep my composure and not spill the beans and be like, yeah, that's my cousin. This is this. But I'm just trying to let her talk and listen.
Yeah.
To see if I can get some information. Maybe she might know something that I haven't already heard.
The rambling she sort of just is going on. She makes mention about how she's excited to go to Illyria. Mostly really good seafood. Loves the culture. But it's really gone downhill in the past 3 years, ever since the new count took over. She preferred the older count much more. He was far kinder. And they've sort of, even though she's old-fashioned, being in the theater space, she considers herself more of a modern woman, and she just does not agree with the current count's stances whenever it comes to the fair sex. He just seems so restrictive. He doesn't even allow singing in the streets. All of the parade days have been canceled.
Oh, that's disgusting.
And they're only allowed, and even though they're only going to be all of their plays that they're going to be doing in Illyria. They're only allowed to do the histories. They're not allowed to do any tragedies or comedies. Only pure historical fact. He's not allowing any sort of whimsy.
And that's the new Count Malvolio?
Malvolio, yes. I don't understand. Orsino was such a kind gentleman, admittedly a bit of a womanizer, but, he enjoyed things. The Illyria is so well known for its arts and its culture, and this Malvolio is such a scoundrel, I swear. Don't tell him I said that, though. Apparently he's been a little dungeon happy, as it were.
You know what? If this stays between you and me, I would never tell him.
Thank you, dear. You're kind. And she sort of gives you the little hand pat, and then sort of steps aside and offers to to let you sit and walk you through like how the looming process works and everything, and helps you work on the tapestry and stuff like that.
I just pull a few strands out just to purposely mess up Juliet's face just a little bit.
Okay, roll sleight of hand, I guess, to see if she notices.
I'm assuming I was in a different room, so I didn't hear that he's getting rid of Whimsy.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
That's a 4.
4. You go for the eyes immediately, and after the first one, she sort of slaps your hand and then like goes back and fixes it.
I mean, she's dead, right? So, like, why can't I make her look more dead?
Because the whole point is that she stays a virginal beauty. That's what we're selling here.
She wasn't a virgin.
Oh. Dish.
I think that Yorick, when he sees Moth take off, check out the animals, and Rosalind go to costume, I think he would kind of step back to where Digger was.
Yeah.
He was relieved when he saw them. Yorick is more of a soldier, and like, tell me what to do, I will do it. Good, there's someone here to tell me what to do. And since Digger gave him the task of, finding Moth and helping him on what he needs, he's going to kind of fall back and just kind of his disguise self is up. He's still kind of the same kind of Sam Elliott kind of look, For the time being, he just grabs a shovel, just kind of stands next to him like he's working with him while they're talking. He's going to say, well, Digger,
Yeah.
the task you sent me on seems to be fairly large.
Yeah, some of the, we may have hidden a bug or two in the drawing room that you went in with the Lord. Hey, my bad. I really didn't think it was going to be all this big of a deal. When we found you half animated, we kind of were just like, oh, sweet, yay, he's back, kind of. And, we've been working on trying to figure out why in the heck this happened to you, but I was really hoping that your post-retirement journey would be, a lot calmer. I really thought it was just going to be helping the weird little guy find a book and then skedaddle on back home. I didn't think it was going to be this whole thing. I didn't even think you would have to cross kingdom boundaries.
I was hoping you had a bigger picture than I did.
You know how it is. Even though you're a soldier. If you're a soldier, I'm a middleman. That's my job. The big wigs tell me what to tell you, and my job is to make sure you have everything you need in order to make sure what they tell you to do happens.
No, I know. We've talked about this. I know.
Yeah.
I know I've asked you before, but I mean, no reason. I just, it's hard. I don't have the memories. It's all gone. I try. I don't even know how I died. And you sure you don't know any reason why I'm back?
Why? The answer is no, but we may have found out why you died.
You did?
Right?
We, about a couple weeks ago, I didn't want to tell you why you were still on a mission.
Okay.
You were executed.
Ooh.
We don't know why. We think there's no evidence to support that they knew you were a player. Like, we've scoured back and forth, but you must have said or done something. But you were executed.
I think back, and all I can remember is that terrible, bratty little prince. Let me on your back, 1,000 times.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't. Executed?
Wait, bratty kid.
The prince, Hamlet. He is a.
You don't remember anything else about Hamlet?
Well, I mean, I know what's happened since, but I wasn't there for that.
Oh, he's in for a ride.
Have you ever seen Lion King?
York. Hamlet was one of us.
Boom, boom.
Or at least that's what you told us. You said that you told us you were training him. Like, I know he was annoying whenever he was a little kid, but by the time he was a little bit older, you sent him over. You gave him some of his basic training, and then we sent him over to England to finish it up.
It's gone.
I'm so sorry. It's got to be rough.
But this seems, I don't, this seems important.
I think it is. I think this is a big deal.
Where do they need me? Where should I fit in here?
Honestly, they always need more clowns.
No. This is what I can do. Okay. Yeah. So we got like carts. Maybe it's like a clown cart, or is it?
Yeah.
There they are. All right.
You sort of look over and you see basically just like a whole bunch of just like tired men, just like chain smoking,
Smeared
with just
clown
like
makeup.
smeared white makeup on their faces.
Just Krusty the Clown
A
all over the
pile
place.
of like distressed like rubber noses that are just like piled up in like a pyramid. Every one of them like gets up and says, "All right, I'm going ahead. Anybody want another beer?" And then they all raise their hands. He's like, "Okay." And then he just takes a step and it's just squeak, 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 squeak.
Yeah. On my way over, I think that my visage that I would put on for this is just Yorick.
Yeah.
Like pre-death Yorick. I mean, if I'm going to use my collegiate barding skills, and if I like, whoo, I just kind of walk up, and I purposely am going to be a little fresher than this group. You know, kind of, hey guys, I heard y'all are looking for you need some clowning, you know, and I'm going to pull out, start a juggle, easy piece of cake. Ta-da!
What's up with this guy?
Kid,
So embarrassing.
let me tell you, I know it from not, and you've got it. That was some of the most beautiful juggling I've ever seen.
Yeah, this is my calling. This is so great. I mean, we get to go out and just impact the lives of people and
just,
bring
like, a
joy
couple of them
to the
just start nodding
faces
their
of the
head, and they're
audience.
just
And
like, this is why we bring in the new blood to keep us young. All right, kid. Let's teach you the tumbling act. And they all just sort of get up, bones creaking, just
Yeah.
like, oh, just like a couple of them pop their
Crack, crack,
backs.
crack.
And then they just like
Stretch.
immediately all do like a front flip.
you know
And
what?
they're just
I'm
like-
also with my little. I'm gonna throw a bardic inspiration on these guys too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
The
it's gonna be
youngest
great.
one is like 52.
No, there's like a 60-year-old one with a cane that like busts out and then just like after like popping the back and everything goes from a hunch to a full stand and then just starts juggling like knives like nobody's business. And it's just like,
Knives.
all right, so at the beginning of the act I come out doing this and then I tell a couple jokes. There once was a man from Verdun.
Oh no!
And just that kind of thing. And they just all sort of like explain their type 5 to you. About like half of them are genuinely funny and the other half are a little bit old school. And you can tell that they're probably kept for like the Tuesday afternoon matinee. But that's fine. They're doing honest clown work.
Honest living, man. Honest living.
It's an honest living. No one more down to earth than a clown.
Yep. So yeah, I'll just kind of settle in there and I'll just ride with these guys.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So after that, everything's sort of packed up, and the Moth, a couple of other decidedly not human-looking humanoids, sort of tap you and say, "We gotta go to the front." And like, there's like one that's like even shorter than you. There's like a furry little goblin creature that's maybe like this tall. And he's just like riding on the back of this absolutely massive bugbear that's just big loping arms. And they're just like a couple of other fays that are just like and you can tell from like their disposition, they're not all as silly or as lost looking as you are. And you can kind of tell that they've lived amongst mortals for a long enough time.
Too long.
That they've maybe lived a little too long and they've sort of lost some of that. And it's been a long time since they've fully gone backstage. And they've been out in the light for so long that it's kind of drained them a little bit.
When you say he's riding on the back of a bugbear, I mean, assuming this is not like a 5e bugbear that's a sentient goblinoid.
No, it's a fully sentient like.
So it's just a dude goblin that's letting it.
There's like a 7 foot tall, like Lopi Sasquatch looking guy, covered in hair, and on top of their shoulder is a smaller diminutive fairy, both of which are speaking to you in full sentences. You are pleasantly surprised, and you are enjoying that they are, when they're experiencing, like, explaining how time to you, like, we need you to be up at the front by XXX, they're using fairy time.
Yeah.
And for that, they, like, even, like, one of you even hands, whenever you mention, like, you don't have a clock, one of them hands you like a fairy wristwatch, and it's got like all 5 of the dials, and it basically is like a gigantic jangly charm bracelet, essentially. And they're like, keep that on you. It's the only way we can keep time. Human time makes no sense.
Finally, someone is speaking civilized to me.
I know, right? I know, right? And then he like burps and then like pulls out an entire like jar of molasses and then just like pours it down his mouth in one go. And then just like, cracks it into his head and says, "All right,
nice
show on the road."
This is wild.
As you all begin to ride, in this, like, in the caravans,
on my pig.
possibly you're on the pig, the leading the front, the ringmaster, at this point has gone and introduced himself to you three. Barnabas is the consummate showman. Tall, at about 5'10", big old beer belly, but wearing like these extremely like immaculately designed breeches and overcoat with a ridiculous hat, just so over the top, brim going out to here, a feather that like trails out and then drags along the ground behind him, walking with a little cane and everything else. He has like, he's got like 3 attendants and they're all children, and then when you look at their faces you see that they're all his children, and like they're all like, you can tell that they're all like sort of picking up what dad's doing. They will sometimes batter out and like give the same orders that he just gave to the same people, and everyone smiles and waves. A couple of them will hand the kids like candy or whatever, and a couple of, you see that each of the kids, like the youngest daughter, whenever they get to the clowns, she like starts cracking a couple jokes. He does like a cartwheel. The oldest son, whenever they get to the actors, asks about, like, he's a little bit older at about like 10, 12. And like asks about, like, he's asking genuine like advice about how to act better. Like he's just like, so whenever I'm noticing that whenever I'm on stage, and like they're changing acting notes basically. And then the middleest daughter, whenever they go to ostensibly the sideshow groups, which is like some of the Fae, along with like the Strongman, that kind of thing. She goes up to the Strongman and is trying to show off, like, look what I can do now, and is like lifting an object that she should not be lifting. Like she is a 100 and something pound, like 10-year-old, admittedly like pretty big for a girl her age, but she is clearly lifting something that's over, like, weighs more than she does. Nice. Like, it's impressive. Like,
Get
she's
it,
a strong girl.
Yeah.
And the guy's just like super proud of her and is like cheering her on as she starts doing reps. He's like, yeah! And the dad's just like shaking his head. He's like, you kids. And Barnabas basically explains to Rosalind, and then also explains to you, York, because you probably haven't had to do this quite yet. You are maybe slightly comatose if you've ever had to transfer in between sections of the backstage, and says, so the more people, the more stuff we move from one space to another, the harder it's going to be and the longer we have to go backstage in order to go from place to place. We're going here from Verona and we're going to Illyria. That's a longer journey. If there were only about 2 or 3 of us, that would take us less than a few hours. But we're going to end up going through the backstage, and it's going to take us about a day. So a full 24 hours in the back. Some tips for coping with how disorienting it's going to be for our non-Fae friends here. Pro tip, keep your eye on the horizon. But if you notice that the horizon suddenly changes, stop looking at it and instead look at your hands. That will help.
Why my hands?
Because they are connected to you and they're not going to shift.
Got it.
Things in the backstage for mortal eyes can shift space, dimensions, locations, colors, all over the time. Things will just happen, and it's very chaotic and doesn't function in the same way. In addition, we're used to our dusk here, or our dawns here. The backstage is, from what we've seen, has been in a case of perpetual night. There are stars, but unlike ours, which glowed and created the daytime looks that we had before, they're faint, tiny specks in the sky, like a smattering of paint on marble. It's going to be a little bit creepy. 3, if anything calls your name and does not follow with the code phrase that I'm going to tell you all now, the code phrase is ham hock. So for instance, if someone says, "Rosalind Ham Hock, can you please do this?" Don't listen to them. Don't do what they say. That is a wild fae that is attempting to try to lure you out of the caravan. Don't do that. If you ever need to leave the light of the caravan for any reason, bring a buddy with you. If you are isolated, something will probably come out and get you. We have lost 3 clowns over the past year because they all decided that they were going to be big, strong men and go pee-pee by themselves. Don't do that.
The reality is setting into Rosalind, and she's just like inside, like just panicking, like, what did I sign up for?
Number 3, the dragons. There will be dragons. Do not make eye contact with them. Nothing bad will happen as long as you don't make eye contact with them. If you make eye contact with a dragon, please tell me. I will not be mad, just disappointed.
Damn. Oh, okay.
Next rule. When the clock hits 11sies, at which point he points at the Fae folk, they all show up their wrists and then points. Basically, 3 of them get in lines and show, this is little hand, this is big hand, and they all point at different directions. Whenever the Fae clock looks like that, because he shows you like an actual bigger, proper Fae clock that he keeps for whenever they are going through the backstage. When that happens, we will be stopping for lunch. They call it 11sies over there. Don't know why. Point being, we have to stop and eat. If we don't stop and eat, we're going to stop and eat, okay? Just stop and eat. Just trust me on this one. Don't break the rule. Last rule. Break a rule once a day.
What?
I know, that sounds very counterintuitive. Once a day, you need to break one of the rules. So you need to intentionally stare at a dragon's eye. You need to intentionally not eat during 11sies. You need to do blah, 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 blah. The Fae realms hate consistency. If you keep something consistent, they will reject you. You could potentially get pulled out from the caravan. I can't do anything about that, and then you will be in the middle of who knows where. 2 years ago, I had an actor, great guy, specialized in soliloquies. We were going from Rome up to London. He did everything perfectly, and that was the problem. In doing so, he then got shunted out, and then we didn't see him again until we stopped in Copenhagen. Don't know how, don't know why it happened. When we met him, he wondered where he was, because apparently he had just shown up right then and there whenever we showed up in Copenhagen 3 months later. I don't know.
This is terrifying.
Yes. All right, let's have a good time.
Oh, boy.
You're right, what is it? Up to point of order. So if I don't break a rule, that's technically breaking the rule about must breaking a rule? Is that
1 second. Hey, Gurney! At which point he like yells over at like the bugbear, and the bugbear says, "It don't work like that.
Oh, I have to actively break a rule.
You have to
not
actively
passively
break a rule, and I can't be a
Okay.
passive rule break.
All right,
It's got to be
okay.
an active decision to break a rule."
All right, fair enough.
So yeah,
Okay.
and
Can do.
intentionally not breaking a rule to break a rule doesn't work either. I guess it's like a double negative. I shouldn't have to explain this to you, mortals. It makes perfect sense to us, but whatever.
My bad.
It's cool.
All right.
I'm just thinking about looking into a dragon's eye. Oh, I kind of want to do that anyway.
So I like to imagine that. So you were talking just. I was just up with the rest of the fairies. I like to imagine that he's explaining the same things to me, and I just lean over, just like, "You really told them that we have to stop at 11C's to eat?
Yeah,
They're so dumb. They believe that.
I know, right?
We get lunch break and it's required. That's fantastic.
I know.
So smart.
It's just like daps from all the fairies at the 11th stock, like, yeah. And they're just so like, we don't have to, he doesn't know. We've secretly joined a union the whole time.
Unionized phase.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey.
Mandated 11Z's.
It's my union, like, demanded 11Z's, you son. Okay. And so with that, he at this point he was addressing everyone from the top of the caravan. He turns around dramatically, because of course he does, flair for the dramatic, in which case all of the Fae sort of clap their hands at the same time. Upon doing so, right whenever that happens, you cross the border of the main gates of Verona's pastorals. You've, for the past like 2-3 hours, have essentially been riding outside of Verona through the pastorals. It's been very nice, quiet countryside. You've seen farmers, maybe a couple cows, something like that, but nothing interesting. But right as you get to the edge of the pastorals, and from beyond that point, you see no more houses. It's all open field. Upon that point, whenever they clap and then they open their hands, a ripple effect over the horizon as everything goes from that dawn dusk to pure night. You look behind you and you don't see Verona at all. There's no wall, there's no pastorals, there are no houses. You are in a massive open air, essentially meadow, going through what is this picturesque thing. You hear the sound of frogs and crickets, noises that you've probably not heard in you don't remember how long, because
Right.
there's been no true night and there's been no true day. And you look up and you see massive flying figures circling around in the air. You see little bits buzzing and you see fireflies glowing, and at first you almost swat at them thinking that it's a bug that's about to land on you, only for you to turn your eye at it and for it to turn towards you, and it's a small, little, tiny, absolutely miniature woman, just like waving at you, glowing, a little trail of golden dust following her as the rest of her and her compatriots sort of flitter away. You stare out at the horizon, and the sort of deep blue that there was when looking at it suddenly shifts to a bright pink. At which point it shifts back to the deep blue. And every once in a while, when looking at just objects, you'll pick something up, and you'll, like, at one point you maybe reach for an apple, and then you bite into something red, and only for it to turn blue in your mouth, and the flavor to change as well. If the apple no longer tastes apple red, it tastes apple blue, which is an odd statement, but it makes sense here in the Fae.
Absolutely.
Wilds.
Duh.
Like, an apple tastes red, right? If it's like a Red Delicious or something like that. In this case, it still tastes like apple, but if the apple was blue. And that's the only way to explain it.
Curiouser and curiouser.
You can taste color here.
Yes. Well, you could taste color in our world. It's just that the colors all make sense in our world. So bananas taste yellow. Like, they taste a banana yellow. But if you were to eat a banana in the Feywild, that banana yellow might become a banana red. And it still tastes like banana, but if the banana was red instead of yellow.
That sounds absolutely just...
It's very odd.
Fantastic.
Bananas in any color. Ugh.
So as you all shift over into the backstage, what's the first thoughts in everyone's heads? I'm curious.
I think the
Civilization. This is where you go when you want to be real.
I don't know what to make of any of this. I'm just holding fabrics and just like trying to look at everything and try to take it all in. And like, I have to remember all of this. I've got to tell my mom when I get back. I have to remember all of this. Oh, I wonder if I can create some fabric that had that little gold swirly thing that little fairy had.
I think Yorick's first thought is like, I've missed the night. He's just kind of probably not even paying attention to a lot of the uniqueness, just like night,
Yes.
stars, sky. He hears the crickets and the frogs. He's always been a creature of the night. This is when he likes to move. And he's missed this. Yes,
Okay.
he's missed the night.
So, GM is get the roll on his table. Oh, random encounters. All right.
Okay.
I also like to imagine that I look at every dragon in the eye and wink. Because I'm a face, so I can get away with it, but I look at every single dragon in the eye as we're passing through.
I'm definitely going to look at a dragon in the eye.
Speaking of, I rolled the number for it.
Hey!
As you
Both of these.
you crest over the hill, and everything breaks away, and where there was this meadow before, you see the rocks slowly begin to multiply as you go further and further down, and then through, and then eventually it opens up into this this massive high-walled stone canyon. As you go through, the rocks are, instead of how we would see a stratified layer of rock going from so many thousands, millions of years ago to the next couple million and everything else. Instead, it's polka dots and stripes and stars and rectangles and rhombuses, and you're pretty sure, Yorick, you see something in the shape of a Klein bottle, which that doesn't make sense. There's a Mobius strip of rock. How does that work? Three-dimensional objects exist in this fourth-dimensional space, but your three-dimensional minds don't understand what is happening in the two-dimensional plane that your vision translates everything to. As that happens, there is a chirping noise from the side of the road. And you, as you're going over, everyone roll perception for me.
Oh, it's in that 20.
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh, so
20.
21.
Okay.
I got a 20.
I'm looking
Hey.
at stars.
Yeah. You don't notice, but the two of you notice a dragon hatchling has fallen out of its nest from the side of the wall. It's about the size of maybe like a Pomeranian or some other small dog. It's sort of hobbling. Its wing doesn't look. It's sort of favoring one wing over the other as it's sort of hopping around. It's just a little beep.
Oh my goodness.
As it's sort of so yeah. There's this little baby dragon on the side.
I'm going to reach out and get him.
Okay. It's far enough away that you can't reach and get him. You would have to exit the caravan, like stop walking along or stop sitting on the things, and you have to physically get down and walk over to it.
Well, this is the rule I'm breaking today. Jump off my seat and like try to like chase after him and grab him.
Okay. Roll animal handling.
It's an 18.
An 18.
You have a pet dragon.
On the 18,
Yes.
the dragon hatchling at first sort of scurries away from you. But you do the little noises. And it's sort of in an odd way that humans would maybe beseech the Fae when they realize they don't have much choice in the matter and a bad deal is better than no deal. The dragon sort of takes a second, recognizes that it's hurting, and has decided to throw in its lot, and sort of eventually just sort of tumbles over to you.
Oh, it's okay.
And it just sort of it sort of closes its eyes and sort of nestles in. It clearly, one of its wings is like not doing super great.
Your wing's all messed up. Oh, I don't know anything about fixing a wing, but we're gonna find a way to fix your wing.
Okay. So you are now standing alone with this baby dragon. Roll nature for me.
That is a 24.
On a 24, the first thing you notice is the smell. There's a smell of soot coming off of the baby. And you notice that there's sort of a trail of that same soot around you, and you're sort of smelling what's happening. And a thought crosses your head. Oh, where's its mom?
Oh, snap. If there's a baby dragon, there's a mama dragon nearby. I should have thought this through. I thought I was just going to break a rule and, like, fix a baby dragon. I'm about to get blown up, aren't I?
Do I see this happen?
Oh, yeah. No, you didn't notice, but you noticed the baby dragon, and you saw Rosalind immediately jump off, run towards it by herself about, like, 24 or so feet away. And now is just sort of standing there holding the peeping baby and just going like, and you recognize that she's now lost and doesn't know what to do next.
If I were to create a minor illusion, can I make it look like her?
Like Rosalind?
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. It might not
Yes,
be a
you can
credit
make
stuff.
anything. You can make it look, but it wouldn't be able to sound like her. It's because minor illusion lets you mimic one of the things, so you can mimic sight here and make it look like Rosalind.
Okay, so I ride my pig over. It's, not all the way over because I'm not dumb enough to leave the caravan. No offense. But I ride over and I create a minor illusion of Rosalind right next to Rosalind. I'm like, back up, put the dragon down, back up very, very slowly.
He's hurt.
Put the dragon down and put him back very, very slowly.
I'm going to set the dragon down slowly. I'm going to, like, kiss the little top of his head and, like, set him down.
And so I make the minor illusion look like it's fretting over this baby dragon. Well, I assume you start backing up?
Yeah, I'm going to
I'm
start
not going to say
backing
it
up.
for you.
Okay.
I'll back up.
And then so I kind of like, I try to keep, as much guidance for her to make it back to the camp. But I still keep this minor illusion fretting over the baby dragon that looks like Rosalind.
Yes. At which point, after you've made it back to the caravan and this minor illusion is there, there's this cavernous roar, and the stomping noise, and then you see this gigantic reptilian head peek its head over the side, and it looks down and sort of sweeps its gaze across the caravan. Everyone avoiding eye contact, and then it snaps its head and looks at the illusion Rosalind. And then it sort of clambers down next to the peeping baby and sort of like lets it get lets it crawl up on its wing. And it just sort of sniffs where the illusion is.
I make the illusion start bolting away from the caravan. Like it's scared.
And it sort of sees that, and then it just sort of spits out a bolt of lightning straight through the illusion, and then it just makes it poof when it does that. And it sniffs at the baby, and then it sort of turns its head.
I'm about to have me a pet dragon.
You just sort of Does anyone speak Draconic?
Oh, do
Oh, snap!
Where's my languages? No, I didn't. I almost did it. Apparently, I did
Okay.
Nosh instead. Because I'm like, we're not going to fight a dragon.
Yes.
Oh, do I speak dragon? I don't remember.
No, no.
I don't think
you
I
wouldn't-
do.
you wouldn't
Yes.
take-
Yeah, no.
I usually take
It's over
Draconic.
here. on the
Yeah,
side.
no, I have it right here.
Um,
I do not. I speak Elvish and Sylvan and Deep Speech,
Yeah,
but not
Sylvan,
dragon.
but I don't
at
know.
which point the lit master sort of waves his hands up with his eyes closed, and the caravan stops, and he sort of gets down and he sort of pulls out. He has one of the Fae sort of lead him by hand as he goes over towards the dragon, and you just hear him go.
It's actually Harry Potter after.
Right?
And then the dragon just sort of shakes its head and like covers its wing, and it's just like, would the language of man be easier? At which point he says, "Oh, yes, it would." At which point the dragon sort of closes its one of its eyes, but keeps one pinned on the ringmaster and says, "One of your charges touched my child." At which point the ringmaster goes, "Okay, our bad. The poor thing was injured, and I'm sure they just wanted to help." At which point the dragon says, "The one who laid hands upon my offspring, step forward.
Oh,
I would wish to speak with you."
I just come forward. I take a deep breath and I like roll my shoulders back. So I've already said I was gonna break one rule by jumping off the cavern and picking up this wounded baby, but now I'm like, well, in for a penny, in for a pound.
Quick. I hand her one of the snails out of my bag. Give him this. He'll appreciate it.
Oh, okay. All right. So now I'm just holding this snail
Yeah.
and I just kind of wave and I'm like, "It was me. I'm sorry. I thought it was hurt and I could help it. I kissed his head. That's probably it. It probably smells like my perfume. I'm respectfully very sorry. I really thought I could help him.
At the
I have a snail."
the dragon sort of at the "I have a snail" sort of tilts its head and then exhales smoke billowing out of its nostrils.
And I'm still trying to look the dragon in the eye, breaking in another rule.
At which point the dragon sweeps its eye and looks at you. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Sorry, I lost my. Wear your glasses next time, Becky. This is 22.
Okay. On a 22, you and the dragon sort of just stare each other down for a second. You're obviously terrified, but the dragon and you're maintaining eye contact, and you hear this thunderous, sweet voice in your head, like someone's screaming a lullaby at you.
Oh my god!
And the voice sort of, it's so loud and chaotic as it's doing it, and the way that it's doing it it's a foreign entity in a foreign place doing magic that's never come in contact with you, and a mind that does not work like a mortal's does. It doesn't. It's just different it's like trying to get Linux to communicate to an Apple. Like it just doesn't. It
Don't
doesn't.
work.
It works, but and so rather than a direct line of communication, you get faint impressions, and sort of this voice tries to impart on you a very important piece of wisdom. Humans, when they are brought to the Fey realm for an extended period of time, can be changed. The concept of the changeling as a folkloric example, wherein whenever a person is taken to the Fey world, if they eat the food that is from here, if they receive the hospitality from here, if they wear the clothes from here, it can change them and alter them in such a way that they can no longer go back to the human realm. That same rule applies to the Fae. If they engage in too much mortal merrymaking, the same thing can happen to them. When you picked up the child and kissed it, a part of the mortal realm has forever tainted it. Not enough that it will necessarily cause any problems, but enough that the child is different now. Mayhaps in a few hundred years they decide that they'll want to take a human lover, or in like 1,000 years they'll wander into the human world, burn down a city, and decide that they want to be in charge for a millennia. That kind of thing. Rather than having little to no interest in the ideas of the mortal realms, the child will have interest, now guaranteed because of your action. You have impacted this thing's ability to choose for itself by interfering with it in a world that you do not belong in.
So you just created either Smog or the dragon from Shrek.
Yeah.
It's one of the two.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm going to lean towards hoping that it becomes a dragon from Shrek.
Yes. The dragon recognizes that this kind of thing happens. After all, this dragon, the reason it can speak the language of man is because it has been to the mortal realm and mortals have interacted with it. That is the nature of allowing this sort of cohabitation. But you did it without knowing that. And so now it has informed you. Your bravery in staring it down and willing to accept your fate has allowed you, has basically this thing has decided to show you mercy. And it is not going to act rashly. But the way of the Fae is balance, tit for tat. And so with that, as the sonorous, like, mind-breaking roaring in your head subsides, you're also changed. And with that, the world, when you open your eyes, looks mostly the same. Except now whenever you blink, you still see what's going on. And you now have an extra set of eyelids, like reptiles have, a meniscus.
Oh my god.
And when in your attempts to blink in a way, everyone sort of recognizes, like, oh.
I'm going to look at this, and no pun intended, I'm going to look at this as a positive thing, and
You can see underwater now.
I can
That's cool.
I can design beautiful swimming suits, and I can change up the eyeshadow game.
Dragon's just like, I don't know what any of that means, but good for you.
Did he accept the snail? That's the real question.
Oh yeah, the snail's no longer in your hands. The snail's now in the little baby dragon's hands, and it's now munching on it.
Okay, so little baby dragon,
It's fine. And then the dad dragon just sort of like nuzzles at it, and the wing is fixed. Just trying to learn how to fly. They fall out of the nest all the time.
it just made me, I was scared for it, but
That's-
when if you decide to come back to the mortal realm, maybe come find me before you blow up a city?
You'll be dead by then.
Most
I would say
likely.
a few centuries.
Find my descendants before we burn
The
things
dragon,
down.
the dragon is just like, unless you yourself have some Vey ancestry or deign to try to become immortal, you will be dead by the time this child makes their way into the mortal realm.
Sorry, mortal realm.
You also notice you can hear, you can understand these guys better now too.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
I guess it's not all bad. I mean, I look a little bit more. It's a fashion statement. I'm going to be a trendsetter. Everybody's going to want to have plastic surgery to have the same eye blink that I have.
every single time you blink, it just makes this little noise.
Your eyes are awesome.
I know! I'm trying to be positive about that,
Lean
but
into
thank
it,
you.
baby.
You finally look less mortal. It's great.
It's
for you.
change. I'm going to have to get used to this change, but I'm going to look on the positive side of it. Oh,
Look
this
on the positive side.
see, this is what happens when you're nice to things.
Well, he looks at me like, maybe I should not say anything.
The ringmaster sort of just grabs you and says, "Thank you for your," and it's his worst draconic you've ever heard.
Oh my god, your accent is terrible.
No.
Sheesh.
And it's sort of, and he's just like, "I've apologized for your thing. Let's get the heck back on the thing and go before."
But I broke 2 rules, so things aren't. See,
told you
look.
to break 1 rule, not 2.
Well, 2 was outside. Ha ha! Changed it up.
So now that's 3 rules you've broken.
That's right. I didn't think that any of this through.
And with that, he sort of scuttles you back along onto the thing, and you guys all continue on your way. It continues. You continue on for a few more hours. You leave the canyon. And as you exit out from the canyon, things open up, and it's a forest. It's wild and it's green, and you hear noises from animals that you've never heard before. Just sort of noises and odd bird sounds. Your typical kookaburra almost sort of bizarre noises where you're like, I don't know what any of this is. It's bizarre wild things. At which point the one of the workers sort of just like checks in on Rosalind and everything else, and basically is like, all right, so this is where the wild things are. I've been through this forest before. Y'all be careful. If anything was gonna jump out and try to nip at any of y'all, it's gonna be something like this.
I've already broken 2-3 rules. I think I'm good for today.
As you wander in, you open into a clearing, like a copse in the forest that's open, and an absolutely massive tree is stationed there. At which point, suddenly all of the clocks that everyone has starts ringing, and all of the Fae are just like, 11sies! And everything stops. The wheels stop, the animals stop, all of the Fae just drop everything they're doing and just start partying in the middle of the copse next to this big tree. They're just rumpus is just happening. A mosh pit busts out.
Eating and moshing.
Just eating and just like going ham.
Wow.
At which point the ringmaster's just like, I guess it's 11sies. I guess we'll stop here for now and eat. Yeah, and he just sort of like opens his coat and just pulls out a little sandwich and just starts munching and watching all of the Fae go nuts.
It's like Peanuts doing the piano.
Yeah.
Do I have any other lizard-like qualities?
No, it's just the eyes.
It's just the eyes.
It's just
okay.
the eyes
And the
now.
tail.
You just have no. It's just now when you blink, there's just this like meniscus thing that
Cool.
takes a half second in order for you to unblink. And if you try, you can just fold that over. You've noticed, so that way your eyes are open, but they're not getting dry. You will always win the staring contest now.
5-year-old me loves this.
Yes, and it means you can see underwater, so that's kind of nice. You don't get disadvantage or whatever whenever looking underneath bodies of water. But it means that some people might see that and go, ew.
Listen, if you can't be down with my new eyes, then
Yeah.
you can't be down. That's okay.
If you don't like me at my worst, you don't like me.
You don't deserve me at my best.
I'm just partying. I figure I'm up there partying
Yeah.
with the rest of them.
I think York would probably York's going to find Rosalind during this time, being that
Yes.
we're the mortals.
Yes.
I think he would look. So like when he's not disguised self, he's hood up. But when he talks to others, just more of a courtesy. I think everybody kind of would be fine here
Appreciates
with that. But he does come over to Rosalind, kind of hood up, and kind of peers at her eyes from under his hood, and says, "In the realm of facial issues, that's not bad."
Oh, I don't think it's a challenge facially, right? My empire, we can adapt and it becomes a new thing, right? So like I said, next thing I know, everybody's going to want eyes like that. I'm a tastemaker and a trendsetter. The minute we get back to Verona, I'm just going to tell everybody I went to the Far East to have this done, and boom. Next thing you know, everybody's going to be looking at dragons.
We just start leading tours into the Feywild.
That's right.
Get the dragon eyes.
Everybody's going to want these dragon eyes.
Yeah. You have to cross the border to get the surgery.
I mean, yeah.
Reality, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, listen, we won't tell them that part, okay? Like, I'm just trying to get used to this thing now.
Fair enough.
And again, see, this is what I get for being nice. Oh, Rosalind, you're not nice to the help. Oh, Rosalind, you're aggressive. Oh, Rosalind. Oh. I do one nice thing, new eyes. See?
Yeah.
The message and the moral of the story is don't be nice. Oh, Rosalind, you didn't kill the apothecary. Oh, Rosalind, now I want to send you on a mission. Go kill people. Oh, Rosalind. What is Rosalind getting all this? Meniscus. Okay, I can see underwater now.
York has walked away a little while ago. He's like,
All right, she's in the spiral. I'll come back. It's processing. I get it. Boff, you are partying it up with the other Fae. Go ahead and roll performance for me.
I promise you, that's actually a nat 20. That's
Nice.
back nat 20.
You are now the center of attention.
Yeah.
What started as just like a random fun thing has now become a dance battle. And you are destroying everyone. What was at first maybe something like a we're at this point we've gone from period appropriate like da, 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 to carnival music to now we're just full on scrumping at each other. Like we are, it has become, you have at one point done a spinneroonie and everyone claps.
I got the chain somewhere.
It's
I
just
got a
somewhere,
double
it's
chain.
just
Stop
like,
it! Somebody cut out a piece of cardboard.
it's just,
like
it's
break
on
dance.
the ground.
I got the face paint.
Yes, everyone is, there's like and if you could roll perception for me as well.
I feel like I should use this die now, but 10.
Okay. Yeah. So you don't notice it. And your merrymaking is beginning to reach a head. How would you like to finish off this like big dance number that you've done?
You guys ever seen Jabberwockies?
Hey! Yes!
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, he just goes off. He starts, just
He's
pop.
like, pop.
Everything's popping. He throws, when he finishes up, he throws the chain. He comes around, but it's like it drags him around, so he does a tumble in the air with it. Lands,
Hey!
pop.
Dang.
Everyone at that point is just like clapping.
He's got skills.
He went hard.
And
He did.
everyone's just like, that's
Yeah, that's impressive,
and
my
it's just
guy.
A lot of them are like, "This is why I need to come back home every once in a while, man. I'm getting rusty. It's very obvious. You guys got it."
Bart is impressed.
Do they know I'm an attendant, or I assume they don't.
They
even though-
don't.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
don't
okay.
know. You've not really exchanged any of this kind of stuff. They've maybe thought that like because you were able to just like walk in and get the job, they were like, he's probably got some kind of connection, but they don't know if that's you've got connections with mortals, you've got connections with other fae. Doesn't matter. The point being is that they're like, cool, you're in, new guy. You get to sit at the cool kids table now.
I always
And
wanted.
they one of them is doing fine, and he starts patting you on the back, and then he just sort of goes, "Oh, excuse me," and he just starts to vomit, just black ichor all over the ground. And he's just like, I don't. I'm sorry, I don't know what's come over me. And it's this life sort of what we would consider a goblin sort of looking dude. Hook nose, green skin, big pointy ears. Just sort of. I'm sorry. I don't. I guess I need to go sit. And he does it again. And it gets on his hands, and he's just like, oh, gross. Oh, God, it smells like rotten ink.
Oh.
And he just starts to, and it keeps coming out of him. And he's just like, and he tries to shake it off, but it just keeps spreading and spreading on him. And then at one point he starts trying to tear it off. And then in his attempt to sort of rip it off, he starts almost ripping off his own skin.
Jesus.
And then he just keeps pinching at it, and then he just peels off a layer until a bit of his own green gets ripped off, and there's just black ichor underneath it. And he's like, what's happening? And then he just starts screaming and clawing at himself, trying to stop this stuff from spilling out of him. And then he just lies on the ground, this like black, emaciated looking goblin thing. And then he just bursts into this sudden black, cold flame. And little wisps of parchment start to fly off of his body.
Oh.
And something stands up.
Nobody touch him.
Moth, roll initiative. You two don't, not yet.
That's a nat 20.
Okay.
Oh.
It doesn't matter with I mean, again, this
Yeah.
doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it doesn't
but
really matter. You're going first no matter
23.
what. Yeah, no, you're going first.
Now when I need it, it's gonna be important. It's gonna get
no,
all
that's
two.
how
Yeah,
it
you're never gonna
works.
make it again.
I'm a halfling.
That's
I
how
realized
that
I
works.
forgot. I'm a halfling. I rolled a 1 last time.
Yeah.
I forgot
Okay.
I'm lucky.
It's true.
That's one of the best halfling traits right there.
That's really good.
Yeah, and I forgot about it when I needed it. I forgot about bardic inspiration when I needed it, and I forgot about halfling when I needed
Same.
it.
I was like, oh.
So I'm a true D&D player. Is what's
Right.
happening.
Right. We were watching Dungeons and Dragons the movie the other night, and something happened, and I was like, well, there's bardic inspiration, and they forgot. It's just normal.
Yeah. I said I want to watch. I haven't. It's on streaming now, right?
Streaming now.
Yeah. I said I want to. Maybe I can talk my wife into it tonight.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cute one.
Yeah, it's your go.
All right.
You got to go first. This thing's not. It's not beating a nat 20 plus an additional 3.
We know what this is.
Yes.
All right. Because I'm smart. The first thing I'm doing is summoning hoppers.
Okay.
Hoppers, come with! And I like to imagine instead of him being portaled in, he just hops in from the side. He's just been here because this is where he's supposed to be.
His entrance, his stage entrance.
Right.
He just hops in. Meh.
Comes up and saves
Unfortunately, that's the action. So then I have hoppers going and attack this thing.
Okay.
First, he's gonna. I like the idea of calling it hopping instead of fuming.
Yes.
So he's gonna get hopping mad, which is the same as fuming. For anyone rules luring.
No, you're good.
That's cute. That
Love
is
it.
cute.
And then he just takes that spear. He just goes straight up and tries to attack him. First one I get advantage on, right? So hopping wins. Yeah. Good thing, because that was a 3. Probably not. But does 11 hit?
And 11 does not hit.
Cool. Well, he misses the first one. He turns around and tries to hit him again.
Uh-huh.
10.
Okay. Off that, Hoppers jumps up and stabs at this thing with its spear, and it moves faster than the other two did, and dodges over to the back and the left, and then Hoppers tries to jab at it again, and it just barely misses. You two now at this commission, and then this screaming noise, it overshadows what you two were doing. And you hear the sounds of screaming, and the ferocious ribbiting of Hoppers in combat. Your eyes were already drawn over to that area from all of the shouting and screaming from from Moth's like crazy dance off. So you'll get to roll initiative. I'll say I'm gonna roll this dice, and that's how many rounds it will take before you guys get there.
Okay.
Ooh, dang.
Oh boy. Okay.
20.
Right?
You have that many rounds. This is the first of those rounds, and then we'll go ahead and go to this thing's turn. It's going to attempt to hit Hoppers. Does a 12 hit Hoppers?
Where are you, Hoppers? Face Spirit. No, it does not.
12 does not hit
Hey!
Hoppers. This thing sort of pops its hands open, and the ichor sort of drips, and then whenever it flicks its hands open, it elongates and then freezes into these black claws as it slashes at him twice. The first one missing, but the second one I'm presuming to hitting on a 24. It did not crit.
24 is definitely a hit.
Yes. Okay.
Dang.
And Hoppers is going to go ahead and take 6 damage.
Hoppers can take it.
As this thing goes in, and with that, it's the top of the round, and it goes back to you, Moth.
Okay, I took 6. Okay, so he's at 54. Cool. Cool. So I take. First, I'll have Hopper's attack first.
Okay, yeah. Go
So
for
Hopper's gonna attack first. Again, he's gonna get hopping mad that he missed twice
it. Yes.
with advantage, without advantage.
Gotcha.
It's a nat 20 with advantage, so
Okay.
I'll leave that one, and then that plus 17.
That hits. Those
Perfect.
both, yeah. The crit obviously hits, and the other one also hits.
Cool. And then that would mean I don't remember what the attack actually was. I missed the first time, so I didn't even care about it. D6. Okay, so D6. This is the one critting. Mm-hmm. This is the one not. The one critting is what's the spell damage? Jesus, actually, this is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 4 plus 3 plus 3 is what? 10, and then one more d6. So that's 15 damage.
15 damage. All right.
And that's the one that crit. So
That's the
you
one that's
can-
crit. Yeah.
So do you just double the whole thing, or do
Just
you
double the whole thing.
Cool. So that's 30,
30. Yeah.
and then this is 4, 7, 8.
8 damage. Okay.
I think rolled 2 ones. Mm-hmm. So 38 total.
Yes.
That's with Hoppers, and then I'm going to attack with the nobody expected Eldritch Blast.
Uh-huh.
I think it's 2 of them, right? Each one? It's 2? Yeah. So 2 Eldritch Blasts. So it's a 22 and a 21 to hit.
Yes, let's both hit.
and then 1d10 plus 4. Sorry, I'm slow at this.
No, you're good.
Yeah, you're fine.
Where's that? There you go. Plus 4, so that's 9 plus 6.
9
so
plus 6.
it's 15.
15 damage. Off of that impressive amount of combat, this thing goes from its very fearsome looking stuff, but after getting mollywopped by Hoppers jumping in and just by basically hitting it with the back of a spear and then stamping it down to pin it, well then you go in with your Eldritch Blast and pummel it down twice. This thing suddenly went from being like hashtag I'm him to maybe I'm not him. And this thing is suddenly like and it's
I ain't about this life.
yeah, it's just and it's gonna go. It gets 2 attacks. Does a because it's still right next to Hoppers and its attacks are both melee.
15 is his AC.
15 is the AC. Okay, then one of these hits.
That frog's got a better AC than me.
Well, it's because I'm a warlock. It's 12 plus whatever the spell level. And the spell
amazing,
level
yeah.
has to be 3 because it's warlock. So
Warlock, yeah.
15.
Is total damage being 5 more to Hoppers. As this thing just starts ripping into him as hard as it can to try to get away. And then you both start running towards the wave of panic that is now coming. Everyone else is now running away from all of this. Some of the Fae maybe would have thought about getting in, but after seeing Moth get to it and just being like, bam, summon frog, bam, Eldritch Blast, they're like, I might be in the way trying to fight this thing, because whenever they see it pop its claws and it just like miss, and then its claws just like straight and go through the ground and just like rip open dirt, they're like, I can't mess with this. And with that, it is back to Hoppers and Moth's turn.
Oh, okay. I'm not used to be just going this quick back.
Oh yeah. That's only the one. Because they're too far away.
Yeah,
There's
we're
that
not
many
there
rounds.
yet.
They're-
Are we far enough away for a ranged attack?
You will be within, depending on the range. Right now, you're about 60 feet away.
Okay.
And this is at you guys like dashing.
yeah, no,
basically.
light crossbow. So it's
Yeah.
80 foot range.
Yeah, if you've got your crossbow, then you could get in there with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do I need to roll initiative? Roll in?
Yes. Go ahead and roll initiative, and I can get you in on this round.
That is 13, 14, 17.
17. Okay.
I'm right at 60 feet, so I could always throw down hold person and keep him in place.
Okay.
So I'll roll initiative.
Okay.
I'm at 14.
14. Okay. Then top of the round, it is Moth's turn.
Cool. Hoppers continues to be very angry.
Yes.
And this continues to be the advantage dice. Glad I had advantage of that one. That one's only going to be 10. I rolled even worse the second time, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Both misses.
Yeah. This thing, clawing at Hoppers, is able to go for and scrape across Hopper's face, temporarily blinding him with the leftover ink that's left over. As Hoppers is like,
It's the only reason Hoppers would miss twice.
and Hoppers misses with his 2 spear attacks to try to get it away, and it's able to take like a couple steps back, so that way it's no longer being pinned by him. And I'm assuming you're going to Eldritch Blast now?
What? Why would an L? Yeah, I'm gonna. That is the one's definitely missed. This one, 19.
19 hits, yes.
Cool. 4, 3, 11 plus 10, 15.
15 damage, all right.
I did the same amount of damage with that one Eldritch Blast I hit than the last time 2 of them hitting. That's how bad I rolled the first time.
Spell attacks, man. Rolling minimum damage on spell attacks sucks.
Yeah. Wait, I was supposed to be rolling D10s. I rolled a D6. It's all good. It's all
Okay.
good.
Ruh-roh.
Yorick suddenly is on the scene. He's you're about 60 feet away when you see this ink goblin slashing at Hoppers and eyeing Moth as
Yeah.
it's attempting to sort of shift itself over so that we can get closer to him.
Yeah, I think he kind of hops off and just takes off running. Crossbow out as he's kind of heading, so he's gonna take a crossbow shot
Yep.
at him. 18.
An 18 hits.
All right, so yeah, in addition to that, I'm gonna use a bonus action to burn a bardic inspiration and apply psychic blades to the damage. So damage for the crossbow that's gonna be 8 plus another 12 psychic damage.
Tight.
20 damage.
For a total of 20.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As he fires the crossbow bolt, like in flight, he whispers "Memento Mori," and he kind of
Yes.
does extra damage.
As you whisper, so you whisper it. What does it have any sort of a visible?
I'm gonna say, like, if you're fast enough to see it, like in mid-flight, he casts psychic blades when he knows it's gonna be a hit, and they just kind of purple glow, kind of around it.
Yes, as it's this purple glow just surrounds the tip
bolt,
of this
yeah,
arrow, and just drives itself in and spirals out this thing, and you just see this like twist go through it as the arrow like pierces through this thing. Ink trailed off after the bolt as this thing just starts screaming up in the air as it's now been shot. And with that, it is Roz's turn.
I'm gonna cast Hold Person on this ink goblin.
Yes.
I'm gonna paralyze him so he can't move around for a little bit.
Yes. Is there a save?
He cast it. There, I believe it's a wisdom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whee!
15.
I rolled a 12.
Let me go ahead and cast that.
Okay. He's holded.
You are holded.
The goblin, the scream stops, and it is now frozen like a statue. Does it again attempt to burst out of this on its turn, or is it just stuck?
It is just stuck.
Okay. Then it's not its turn anymore, and it goes back to Moth.
I got you.
Yes, I feel like I'm hogging all this. One quick question, I guess. Spells piercing damage. Is that the same as spell attack?
Yes.
Okay.
So what's phrase the question?
Well, I think I was underselling myself.
Oh, okay.
So I've done less damage than I could have done with it.
Gotcha.
Because I get 1d6 plus 3 plus the spell's level piercing damage plus 1d6.
Gotcha.
And I was going off the modifier, which is less.
Yes.
So
Okay.
I should have done more damage, but it's okay.
All right.
It's okay. Cool. Hoppers, again, continues to be very angry.
Mm-hmm.
This is the downside about playing a warlock, folks. If anyone's ever looking at them, they're fun, but it's very 1-2 until you start adding some multi-classing into there.
Yeah. That's, you're talking to someone who primarily plays fighters.
For some reason, I play bards. I don't know where I get that idea
I
from.
go up and hit stuff with my sword.
Yeah. Okay.
Druid normally, so
All right. Hoppers is gonna attack twice. Again, advantage, no advantage. But that one has advantage. That was a 1. Yeah, he misses, and one of those was a 1.
Oh,
To be
okay.
fair.
Hoppers lunges with a spear, and then this thing,
It's the ink.
the one that's a 1, you get advantage because this thing isn't moving.
So I rolled.
health.
I rolled.
You roll advantage on 1 because there's no double advantage, right?
He's paralyzed.
It's paralyzed. So the one that you rolled a 1 on, that one also gets advantage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because this thing isn't moving. Hoppers should just be able to smack at it.
So that'd be 13.
13. He doesn't get enough dense. The ink is dense enough that it just doesn't. It doesn't. Yeah, it just doesn't cause enough damage for it to really count for anything.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. Cool. Then I will Eldritch Blast.
Yeah.
A 26 and a 21.
Those both hit.
There we go.
Woo!
I'll remember my D10 this time. What are you? Oh, 20.
Yeah. with that, the last Eldritch Blast comes in, and you aim it for the hole left behind by Yorick's bolt. This thing not moving means you have an easy target, and you're able to just plunge your Eldritch Blasts that look like tree roots up and into this thing, at which point the roots wrap around suddenly really, really fast until it eventually just pops, ink everywhere, and from it a tree growing. And
It's like,
as this now dead ink monster lies here in the middle of the camp.
I'm here. Okay.
it
Good
is
job.
okay. Most save day.
You had help. Hello?
No, you guys did all the work. Well, no, Hoppers did all the work.
Hopper did all the work. We just helped him out.
With his
Knowing the
3
drill on
misses.
this, I'm going to pull a dagger and see if I can grab some parchment out of this thing and see if we can.
That we will save for next
right.
time.
I'm not
because
touching it again.
It's that time. I
Touched
wouldn't.
enough stuff.
I learned.
Yeah. So yeah,
Did you
that
know-
was episode 3 of Stages and Satyrs. This is great, everyone. If you've been watching live or if you end up watching the recording, I'm Jacob. Joining with me are
David Sanders.
and
Becky McDonald.
Alex the Bearbard.
hey.
Hey.
Go ahead and search for them or follow them on stuff. It's whatever. They're all great people. This is brought to you by the Dallas Public Library. This is a reminder that you, yes, you at home, I'm pointing at you, camera, and at you, camera, can do this kind of thing as well here at the Dallas Public Library, in addition to D&D programming at multiple libraries, not just this one at Central, but also the recording stuff that we're doing is all available for people to use to record, and it's yours to use as long as you have a library card. Hooray! So yeah, come bring your library card and do this cool thing. And it's been so great to have you guys here. We love doing it. This is a fun show. Until next time, I am Jacob. I'm your GM, and I would like to thank my players once again for being great. Yay!
Yay! Thank you.
Okay. All right. See you guys next time.
Nice.